This is the final warning. The clock has run out. As you read this, the world is preparing to pop champagne corks. They are putting on party hats. They are watching the countdown clocks in Times Square in London, waiting for the ball to drop. They believe that when the clock strikes midnight, they are simply entering a new year. They are wrong. They are walking blindly into a new economic epoch. We are issuing this emergency alert because intelligence received from our sources in the Shanghai Free Trade Zone confirms that the rumors are true. The soft restrictions we have tracked for months are about to become a hard law. At exactly 12 Mas, 1 a.m. on January 1st, 2026, local Beijing time, the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China will activate Decree 117. This is the export ban we have been warning you about. For the last 48 hours, we have seen a flurry of activity at the major Chinese ports that defies normal commercial logic. Instead of loading ships for the end of quarter rush, the cranes have stopped. The bonded warehouses have been sealed. The customs agents have been replaced by uniformed officers from the State Reserve Bureau. The decree does one simple, devastating thing. It reclassifies silver, specifically 0.999 fine industrial bars and high purity powder, from a Class B export commodity to a Class A strategic defense asset. Do you understand the magnitude of that shift? Class B commodities can be traded freely. They are subject to tariffs, sure, but they flow. Class A assets are treated like uranium. They are treated like weapons-grade plutonium. They cannot leave the country without the direct written signature of the State Council. And the State Council is not signing anything. The Factory of the World has just announced that it is keeping the raw materials. The Western banking system has spent 50 years relying on the free flow of silver from east to west to balance the books. When the COMEX was short, they leased metal from China. When London ran dry, they imported bars from the Shanghai refineries. At midnight, that lifeline is cut. The Jan 1st export ban is the geopolitical equivalent of a heart attack. The blood flow stops, the oxygen stops. And the victim, the Western financial system, hasn't even realized it yet because the party music is too loud. You have hours, not days, to understand what this means for your portfolio. The price you see on the screen right now is a lie because it assumes a supply chain that no longer exists. The ball is about to drop, but so is the guillotine. To understand why this export ban is the kill switch for the paper silver market, you have to look at the specific targets of Decree 117. The media, if they cover this at all, will tell you it's a trade dispute. They will say China is just posturing. Do not believe them. This is not a negotiation tactic. This is a resource seizure. We have obtained a translated summary of the restricted items list that goes live at midnight. It doesn't just ban silver. That would be too vague. It bans the value-added forms of silver that the Western tech giants rely on to survive. The ban specifically targets photovoltaic paste, the conductive silver glue used in 90% of the world's solar panels, nano silver powder, the critical component in the solid-state batteries for EVs, LBMA standard bars, the 1,000-ounce bars used to settle futures contracts in London and New York. This is a surgical strike. By banning the export of these specific forms, China is doing two things simultaneously. First, they are strangling the Western green energy transition. You cannot build a solar panel in Germany or a battery in Nevada without these Chinese refined materials. The West has the factories, but China has the ingredients. Without the silver paste, the factory in Berlin is just a warehouse full of useless glass and plastic. Second, and more immediately dangerous to the banks, they are strangling the COMEX. The COMEX relies on refinery accreditation. They accept bars from specific Chinese refiners to settle contracts. If those refiners are legally forbidden from exporting, the deliverable supply on the COMEX drops by roughly 40% overnight. We are already seeing the effects. Our sources in the logistics industry confirm that major shipping lines, Maersk, COSCO, MSC, have received red notices regarding silver shipments. Containers that were already on the docks in Shanghai, scheduled to depart for Los Angeles this morning, have been flagged for inspection and held back. These containers will never leave. The inventory illusion is shattering. For months, the bullion banks have pointed to the stockpiles in Shanghai and said, look, there's plenty of silver in the world, but possession is 9/10 of the law, and as of midnight, China possesses it all. The ships are empty, the warehouses are locked, and the just-in-time supply chain that keeps the price of silver suppressed is about to face a not coming ever reality. The supply shock is hitting the hull of the ship right now, but the passengers in the first-class lounge, the retail investors, are still ordering drinks. We have established the lockout. We have established the seizure. Now, we must expose the cover-up. Why is the price of silver not exploding right now? If the supply has been cut off, why is the chart painting a boring flat line into the new year? Because the banks are fighting for their lives. You are witnessing the calm before the margin call. The trading desks at JP Morgan and HSBC know about Decree 117. They have known for 72 hours. They are using these final hours of 2025 to execute a desperate smokescreen operation. Here's the trap they are setting for you. They know that when the markets open on January 2nd, the news of the export ban will break. Panic buying will begin, the price will gap up. So, to protect their massive short positions, they are spending billions of dollars in high-frequency trading leverage today to pin the price down. They are selling paper contracts into a thin holiday market to create the illusion of stability. They want you to look at the chart and see weakness. They want you to think, oh, the rally is over, silver is stalling, I should sell. They need you to sell. Every ounce of physical silver you sell today is an ounce they can grab to cover their own naked shorts before the Chinese ban hits. They are trying to transfer the bag of toxic paper to you, while they steal the physical metal from your hands. This is why we are calling this the last warning. The price you see on your screen, let's say $78, is a Z price. It is a zombie price. It is the price of a contract that can no longer be fulfilled. When the clock strikes midnight and the export ban goes live, the link between the paper price and the physical metal is severed. The banks are betting that they can keep you asleep for 12 more hours. They are betting that you will be too busy singing Auld Lang Syne to notice that the vault door has been welded shut. But the smart money isn't partying. We are tracking massive over-the-counter, OTC, block trades happening in London right now. While the public price is flat, the private premiums are skyrocketing. Sovereigns and industrial giants are paying $100, $100, $115 an ounce in private deals to secure metal that is already inside Western borders. They know that tomorrow the ocean divides. The metal in the West is the only metal the West will ever see. The banks are suppressing the public price to buy time for their private accumulation. Do not fall for the flat line. It is not stability. It is the flat line of a patient whose heart has stopped right before the defibrillator kicks in. We have to talk about the kill switch that is currently being programmed into the algorithm of every major ETF and digital silver platform. If you think you own silver because you have shares in SLV or digits in a banking app, you need to read the fine print of your user agreement. Specifically, the clause regarding force majeure and cash settlement. And while the banks are holding the price flat today, as discussed in Part 3, their legal departments are preparing for the dam to break tomorrow. We have received leaked internal memos from a major custodian bank indicating that a same market disruption event notification has already been drafted. It is sitting in the drafts folder, waiting to be sent to millions of retail investors the moment the Chinese export ban becomes public knowledge. Here is the nightmare scenario they are preparing for. Midnight hits. Decree 117 goes live. The flow of physical silver from China stops. Market opens, Jan 2nd. The price gaps up. Industrial buyers panic. The run. Retail investors, realizing the shortage, try to stand for delivery. They try to convert their paper shares into physical metal. This is the moment the trap springs. The banks cannot deliver the metal. They don't have it. It's locked in Shanghai. So instead of admitting bankruptcy, they will trigger the cash settlement clause. They will send you an email that looks like a standard update. It will say something like, due to extraordinary supply chain, irregularities arising from geopolitical events, we are suspending physical redemption. Your position has been closed at the last available market price. And here is the theft. They will pay you out at the zombie price, 78. They will force you out of your position at the manipulated low, just moments before the real price skyrockets to $100, $150, or beyond. You will be left holding fiat currency that is rapidly losing purchasing power, while the asset you thought you owned is confiscated to save the system. This is not a theory. This happened in the nickel market in 2022. They canceled billions of dollars in trades to protect a Chinese tycoon. Tomorrow, they will do it to protect the entire Western banking cartel. If you do not hold the metal in your hand by midnight tonight, you're volunteering to be a creditor in a bankruptcy that has already been decided. The email is written. The send button is ready. Are you ready to be liquidated? While the retail investor is being shepherded toward the slaughterhouse of cash settlement, a completely different and far more violent reality is playing out in the boardrooms of the global industrial complex. We have to talk about the panic of the procurement officers. You need to understand the psychology of a company like Samsung, Tesla, or Raytheon right now. For the last 20 years, these trillion-dollar entities have operated on a just-in-time inventory model. They believed the lie. They believed that the COMEX was a bottomless grocery store. They believed that if they needed 5 million ounces of silver for a new EV battery line or a solar array, they could simply call a bullion bank in London, place an order, and have it delivered next week. But today, on the eve of the export ban, the phone lines between Silicon Valley, Seoul, and London are melting down. The just-in-time model has just become not in time. These companies employ supply chain analysts who are far smarter and far better paid than any Wall Street economist. They have read the translated text of Decree 117. They know that the specific nano-silver powder and photovoltaic paste mentioned in the ban are the lifeblood of their products. This is not a financial trade for them. It is an existential crisis. You cannot build a solid-state battery without silver. You cannot build a Tomahawk missile guidance chip without silver. You cannot build a 5G tower without silver. It is a matter of physics. If they don't have the metal, their assembly lines stop. If the lines stop, their stock price collapses. If the stock collapses, the CEO is fired. So what are they doing right now while the spot price on your screen sits at a boring $78? They are bypassing the banks entirely. They are engaging in a shadow bid that is sucking the oxygen out of the room. We are receiving confirmed reports of direct off-take negotiations happening in hotel rooms in Mexico City and Lima right now. Major tech conglomerates are sitting down with mining executives and offering terms that would make a COMEX trader vomit. They are saying, we don't care what the paper price says. We don't care about the chart. We will pay you $115 an ounce. We will pay you $120. We will cover the shipping. We will cover the insurance. Just get the metal on a truck and send it to our factory, not the London vault. This is the bifurcation we warned you about, but it is happening faster than anyone predicted. There are now 2 silver markets on Earth. The paper market, 78, a digital illusion used to settle retail accounts and hide the insolvency of the banking cartel. The industrial market, 115 plus, the real price that desperate corporations are paying to keep their doors open. The ghost inventory, that floating supply of 1,000-ounce bars that usually sits in dealer vaults, is gone. It has been vacuumed up. The industry has eaten the float before the ban even officially starts. When you wake up tomorrow and see the spot price at $80, you might think, I'll go buy some coins. But you will find sold-out signs everywhere. You will find premiums of 50%, 60%, 70%. The industry is panicking because they need the metal to survive. The banks are panicking because they need your paper to survive. The collision of these 2 forces is hours away. And the retail investor, staring at a fake price on a screen, is standing right in the impact zone without a helmet. We have the Chinese government locking the gate. We have the Western banks defaulting on retail. We have the tech giants panic buying. But there is one final group that has decided to twist the knife, and their decision is the one that makes this crisis permanent: the miners. For 40 years, the primary silver producers, the companies pulling the metal out of the ground in Mexico, Peru, Poland, and Australia, have been the battered victims of this scheme. They took all the risk. They dealt with the strikes, the geology, the environmental regulations, and in return, they had to sell their product at a price rigged by a computer algorithm in New York. If the banks smashed the price to $20, the miners starved. If they smashed it to $15, the miners went bankrupt. They were price takers. But intelligence from inside the mining sector confirms that the dynamic has flipped. A producer's revolt is underway. The CEOs of the top silver miners are looking at the same landscape we are. They see the Chinese premiums. They see the desperate industrial bids from Tesla and Samsung. And they are asking a simple question: why would I sell my concentrate to a COMEX-approved refiner in London for $78 when I can ship it to a battery factory in Seoul for $115? The answer is, they wouldn't. And they aren't. We are witnessing a supply diversion on a global scale. We have reports of cargo ships that were scheduled to transport silver concentrate to Western ports being remanifested in the middle of the ocean. They are turning west. They are heading across the Pacific. They are bypassing the LBMA entirely. This means that starting January 1st, the COMEX won't just be low on inventory, it will be cut off from the bloodstream. The pipeline is being redirected. The West is being starved. This is the ultimate nightmare for the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association. Their entire fractional reserve system relies on a constant flow of fresh metal entering the vault to replace the bars that are being withdrawn. It relies on the churn. If that flow stops, if the miners join the China block and sell directly to the end users, the London vault goes mathematically empty in weeks. The miners have realized that the paper price is a lie. They have realized that their product is the most strategic element on the periodic table, and they are no longer willing to subsidize the Western banking system with their assets. By pivoting to Asia, the miners are effectively enforcing the export ban globally. They are helping China corner the market, not out of political loyalty, but out of pure capitalist survival. The supply cliff is here. The water is still flowing out of the tap in London, but the reservoir behind it is dry, and the miners just cut the pipe. We have arrived at the moment of kinetic release. This is the chapter where the laws of physics take revenge on the laws of financial manipulation. In the trading world, they call it a short squeeze. But what is coming when the export ban goes live at midnight is something far more violent. It is a gamma recoil. To understand the violence of what is about to happen, you have to visualize a high-tension steel spring. For 40 years, the Western banks have been compressing this spring. They have used billions of dollars in paper leverage, naked shorts, and spoofing algorithms to push the price of silver down, keeping it artificially cheap despite exploding demand. They have held the beach ball underwater with the weight of the entire fiat system. But at midnight tonight, Decree 117 removes the hand holding the ball. When the markets attempt to price in the reality of the export ban tomorrow morning, the banks are going to lose their grip. Here is the math that terrifies the risk desks at JP Morgan and Citibank. To suppress the price today, as we exposed in Part 3, the banks have to be net short. They have to sell contracts they don't have. This means that at the absolute bottom of this zombie price, 78, they are holding their maximum short exposure. They are most vulnerable at the exact moment the trend reverses. As the price bounces off the bottom, driven by the industrial panic bid, Part 5, the banks are instantly underwater. Their losses aren't linear, they are exponential. And here is the trap they built for themselves. To stop the bleeding, they must buy. But who are they buying from? They can't buy from the miners. The miners have diverted their ships to Asia. They can't buy from the retail public. The dealers have locked their doors or their sites have crashed under the load. They can't buy from the east. The export gate is welded shut. This creates a gamma squeeze. As the price rises, the market makers, the entities that sold put options to the hedge funds, are forced by their own risk models to buy futures contracts to hedge their exposure. They become forced buyers in a market with zero sellers. They will be chasing a ghost. The high-frequency trading algorithms that are pinning the price down right now are programmed to flip once silver crosses the key technical resistance levels, likely reclaiming the 85 level within minutes of the news breaking. The sell bots shut off and the buy bots turn on. But this time, they will be bidding into a vacuum. There is no offer. There is no liquidity. We are predicting a gap-up event that will make history. The price won't drift up politely, it will teleport. You might go to bed seeing silver at $78 and wake up to see the first trade execution at 110. The chart will simply print a vertical line. The Western banks tried to create a technical breakdown to hide the export ban. Instead, they have loaded the slingshot for the greatest technical breakout of the decade. The flat line today was the pullback. The release is next, and the target is no longer the old high. The momentum from this recoil has the mathematical energy to push us straight through to numbers that sound ridiculous today, $150, $200, but will look cheap by the weekend. The banks built a trap, walked inside, locked the door, and handed the key to Beijing. Now, the spring is uncoiling and they are standing right in front of it. We have reached the end of this investigation. We have analyzed the fine print of Decree 117. We have exposed the mechanism of the zombie price. We have tracked the miner revolt and the industrial panic that is consuming the physical supply. The yellow tape has been wrapped around the crime scene. The evidence is conclusive. The price action you're seeing right now, the boring flat line into New Year's Eve, is not stability. It is a lie. It is a desperate, coordinated attempt by a cornered cartel to hide the reality of the supply shock for one last day. They are hoping they can settle your account in cash before you realize that the silver has left the building. They are hoping you sell your lifeboat to buy a ticket on the Titanic. Now, the only variable left in this equation is you. You're standing on the tracks of history. For 50 years, the silver market has been a rigged casino where the house always wins. They printed paper to suppress the price. They convinced you that an ounce of silver was worth $20, then $30, then $50. They convinced you that paper was safer than metal. But while you are preparing to celebrate the new year, the casino is being boarded up. The house has been cleaned out by a player bigger than them. The game is over. The trap is set. The algorithm is live. The banks are counting on your ignorance. They are counting on you, looking at your phone, seeing the flat price, and thinking, I'll buy next week. I'll wait for a pullback. There is no next week. Here is your final briefing for the start of 2026. 1. Ignore the screen. The price you see on the COMEX is a phantom price. It is the price of a paper promise that is currently being defaulted on. It is not the price of metal. If you sell at that price, you are donating your wealth to the enemy. You are handing them the weapon they will use to kill your financial future. 2. Watch the spread. The signal is not the spot price, it is the disconnect. If spot is $78, but you can't buy an ounce for less than $115, the price is $115. The disconnect is the market screaming that the paper era is over. The spread is the truth, the spot price is the lie. 3. Hold the line. The moment the clock strikes midnight, the moment the export ban goes live, the gamma squeeze begins. The transfer of wealth from those who hold paper to those who hold metal will be the largest in history. Do not let them shake you out. Do not let them scare you. We have the intel. We see the data. The silver bomb has been detonated. The shockwave hasn't hit the mainstream news yet, but it will. You have been warned. The vault is empty. The East has the metal. The West has the debt. And the only thing standing between the banks and total collapse is their ability to trick you one last time. Secure your stack, ignore the noise. Let them burn in the trap they built for you. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications. We will be live when the markets reopen to track the explosion. The heist is over. The panic is next. Class dismissed.